As visual artists, a lot of us have this notion that there's only so much work to go around. Well, I want to challenge that way of thinking and hopefully give you a new perspective. Greetings, people of the internet. I'm Scott with Serkworks Art Labs. Welcome, mad creators, to the underground laboratory where we create robots, aliens, zombies, and other imminent threats to humanity. Sometimes we take those things and we create blueprints out of them. That's what we're going to do today. It's been a little while since we've done one of these, but the blueprint series, they're sort of, well, they kind of look like this. I do these little white on blue drawings, and while I do that, I kind of pick a topic and talk about it. And these are usually a little, these are smaller videos, shorter videos, more bite-sized, I guess you could say. And it's just kind of a jumping off topic, something to kind of introduce and then maybe talk about in the discussions and the comment sections rather. And or if it's something that's really popular, a lot of people want to go into further, maybe we can do a full blown out video about it. But today what I want to talk about are sort of two different ways of thinking. And you can approach, we're gonna gear this specifically towards, artists, making a living as an artist, but this can be this can be throughout your life. Everything that you look at, you can kind of look through these two different views. Two different viewpoints, two different methods. What's the word I'm looking for? Mindsets. So we're going to talk about the scarcity mindset versus the abundance mindset, and maybe you've heard about that, but again, I want to kind of gear this towards artists and how obviously one way is way better than the other, and I'll explain why. And like I said, we'll do that while I do a blueprint drawing, so why don't we get to it? So let's start off by talking about the differences between the scarcity versus the abundance mindset. So if you have a scarcity mindset, you kind of have this idea that if one person wins, then another person has to lose, or if a lot of people are winning, that means that there's less of an opportunity for you. It's kind of like, when the cowboy walks into the old west town, it's like, this town's not big enough for the two of us. That's sort of a scarcity mindset. And with that, there's some attitude, there's some like telltale signs of where you're falling on this particular scale. If you have a scarcity mindset, you resent others when they win, and you're sort of rooting for people to fail. And if you find that's the case, then you may be operating under a scarcity mindset. Now, on the opposite of that is the abundance mindset. And that's kind of like, there's the attitude that there's more than enough room at the top, that the rising tide raises all ships. If your fellow artists or whatever, we're artists, so we're going to use artists as an example, but if your fellow artists are doing good, that means that's going to help lift you up and do good as well. So, when you the attitude of, well, there's plenty of fish in the sea. Maybe you lose one job, but there's others out there. These are the type of things that go along with the abundance mindset. And with that, the attitude is that you're celebrating when others succeed. And you're generous with you're generous with your time, and you credit others. So as far as being generous with your time, if you're not operating under the abundance mindset, you might be like, well, I don't want to tell them, give out my secrets, like how I do this particular thing, because they might do it and copy it, and then they're going to be competing with me. That's just, in my experience, that's just hasn't been the case. I'm always more than willing to share my information, and it comes back around, But with an abundance mindset, we realize that the chain is only as strong as its weakest link. So when you have a scarcity mindset, you tend to focus on limitations instead of opportunity. You see all these successful people, and with an abundance mindset, that just means it's possible. These people have shown that this can be done, and they've sort of paved the way. Rather than looking at that as competitions, or now I can't do this because somebody else has already accomplished it, when you should be looking at, well, yeah, they did it, why can't I do it?
if you're operating under a scarcity mindset, you might think, well, there's only so much work out there for artists. But the thing is, opportunities are out there for artists. Everything you see has to be designed. Whether you go into a store, the packaging, everything has to, all that packaging is designed. The products themselves have to be designed. If no matter what you're looking at, if you're looking at somebody's Instagram feed, they take great photos, and it's all of these are art forms, whether it's photography or sculpture or graphic design, and the list goes on and on. Everything we see out there in the world has to be designed. We may not be we may have our sights set a little narrow. If we look at it in a broader sense, there really are so many opportunities out there. But if you're operating under scarcity mindset, it's like, well, I got to get my piece of the pie, but there's only so many slices of that pie you can get. But as creative people, we have to realize that we can create things. We can bake more pies. We can create opportunities that people, create items and things that people didn't even know they wanted. One of the really good example that I talked about on a previous one of these blueprint videos was, I think the video was entitled "I Couldn't Believe My Eyes" or something. But basically, this guy created these animatronic sort of, or puppet dinosaurs, and he built these things. And he built a truck that looked like a cage, and you could see the dinosaurs, so all that's advertising. But what he does is he goes out there and hosts these kids parties and everything with these dinosaurs, and that's something that didn't exist. This guy came up with this idea and created this whole market from scratch. And again, that's something people didn't even know that they wanted. And once you see it, it's like, oh man, I gotta get into this. I gotta see what this is all about. With an abundance mindset, we don't have to wait for opportunities to come our way. And we don't even have to go out and search for opportunities. Opportunities are things that are out there just waiting for us to create. When we have an abundance mindset, we realize that there's no shortage of opportunities in the creative field. There's just a shortage of the skills that it takes to benefit from all of these opportunities. So what we need to do is we need to sharpen those skills. We need to figure out, how to bring those opportunities our way, how to create our own opportunities, and whether that's just creating some dynamite, artwork that just can't be ignored. Whether that's the way we post on social media. And you can see it, like I'll look through my Instagram feed and I'll see, you'll see the average post, and then you'll see the people that took a little more time with something like that, and it just sticks out. I just watched a video the other day, and it was very professionally done, but it was just a quick video, and it just made the artwork, which is already really good, but just the way it was shot and everything, and the setting was done in. It was like, whoa, and it floored me, and it got my attention. And that's what we need to do, is we need to get attention. And it doesn't matter what kind of art you do, there's an audience out there for your art. You just need to know how to reach them. Like with me, I'm developing this whole mad scientist supply company, and I know that there are people out there. I know that there's a market for that. It's just a matter of finding the right people. And but I know that it's out there. The market is vast. The people who buy artwork far outnumber the amount of people out there creating artwork. So we've got to get we've got to get away from this scarcity mindset and realize that there are so many people out there that want to buy art, or want to buy what we have. And again, they might not even know it yet, because they don't. Just think of the first time you see something that you just right away, it's like, oh, take my money. You know that feeling when you see that artwork, or you see a product out there that's just like you just did not even, like, this is perfect. I didn't even know I wanted this, but the moment you see it, you're like, man, take my money. And that's the idea. And that should just show you how finite the market is. there's no ceiling. I mean, if you can create a market for something that no one actually knew, that didn't exist, that no one actually knew what they wanted, you could do it for another thing that no one knew they wanted or whatever. And so it's not like it's not like this thing where, again, there's no ceiling to this. I mean, you once you think you've reached this point where you can't go any higher, you know, maybe a certain market might get saturated, but that doesn't mean we can't create all new opportunities, all new markets, and we're creative people. So we are, if anyone, it's just really weird how everyone looks at artists and creatives and it's almost the whole starving artist mentality, when in fact we're the ones creating all these new things. And right now with the internet and the just, there's so many opportunities that for us to even operate under the scarcity mindset is ridiculous. And I know it's hard sometimes, especially because when you create habits, it's hard to get out of those habits. And I've been in points where I've had scarcity mindset and everything, and I've had to kind of work to get out of that. But the more you think about it, the more you realize that there's just so much, just such this vast undiscovered country that we can generate artwork for, and it's just I don't see any limit to it. It's practically limitless. We just need to use our creativity and our ingenuity to break beyond these so-called boundaries and create opportunities for ourselves. And we can do that because we are creative people, and it's always inventors and creatives and people like us who sort of broaden the landscape and create opportunities that people never knew existed. And then once that happens, it's like, oh yeah, of course. But it's easy to say from hindsight, and it's hard in the beginning to kind of figure out how to do this. But we need to sharpen those skills that are going to allow us to benefit from all these opportunities. So anyway, something to think about, and something I'm thinking a lot about, and again, trying to stay positive, trying to stay in touch with this abundance mindset, and notice any time that scarcity mindset creeps in to just ignore it, and yeah. Okay, here is our luchador robot. I've dubbed him the El Luchadrone. So yeah, that was a fun one to do. I really do like doing these blueprint sketches, and I like talking about getting some of these topics out there because it's something to think about. So what do you guys think? What category do you fall under? Are you more the scarcity mindset or the abundance mindset? Hopefully the abundance mindset, or if you are more the scarcity mindset, like I've found myself in the past falling into that trap, and I've done everything I can to get out of it. And sometimes I can recognize, hey, that's not cool. That's this isn't helping. This isn't good for me. It isn't good for anyone to kind of have that way of thinking. So if you are of the more scarcity mindset, are you going to try to do something to change that? Or maybe you're living with this abundance mentality and it's doing well for you, hopefully. I can't see how it wouldn't, as opposed to the other way of thinking. But let me know in the comment sections kind of where you are in that scale, and what you plan to do about it if you aren't in the abundance way of thinking. So let me know, and I will talk to you guys later. That is all. Hey everyone, thanks for joining me here in the Art Lab. There's a lot of other great content on the channel, so click that subscribe button and you won't miss a thing. If you're an aspiring evil genius, visit Serkworks.com for all your mad science supply needs. And if you want to contact me, hit me up in the comments section or follow me on social media. I'm looking forward to it. I'll see you then.